I have been reading the tweets, and one of the interesting tweets that I read came from Tibor Nagy, the African Undersecretary, the American Undersecretary for Africa. And I'll just read the tweet and tell you what I think about it. Mr. Tibor published this on the 9th of this month of September 2019, and he was trying to have his own say about back to school in Abazonian. So he tweeted, "Education is the key to the future for all young people. It's a tragedy that students in the northwest and southwest of Cameroon are going into a fourth year of no school. Both separatists and government need to enter into dialogue without preconditions." When I read this from Mr. Nagy, I felt sad. The reason I felt sad was because when this struggle started, America was really on the right side, doing what Americans do, to be known for the great country and the promoter of human rights as they have been over the years. You know, it was Americans that championed the decolonization of the third world. Franklin Roosevelt, to be specific. So America started in our struggle well. The American ambassador came out and said exactly what was happening and condemned it. But somehow they have been backpedaling, and the American ambassador, when he came and spoke about the wrong in our country, did not say, "Oh, we have sat with our partners and decided that burning of villages, target killing, harassment of the population is a bad thing." No, the ambassador came out as a human being first, and as an American second, said these things. He said what he said, and he was right. And since then, what is happening now is you hear America say, "Oh, we are in consultation with our partners." I can tell you something, Mr. Nagy. Those partners you are consulting with are, first of all, the partners that America had to break away from to become America. America had to break away from the British and became the first country in the world to fight against colonization. That is what America did. And America has championed the fight of the little man everywhere in the world. But for some reason, in more recent times, America is beginning to speak with both sides of their mouth and confusing those who have always believed in America. So this tweet does not reflect well. I'll tell you why this tweet does not reflect well. The reasons why Abazonians boycotted schools, those reasons have not been addressed. They have not been addressed. The reason they boycotted school was because Abazonian children who speak English were being taught by Francophones who do not speak the language, who do not speak English, and do not understand the curriculum in the Southern Cameroons. They just did not. If you talk to most of the students who went through that system, you can hear their English is very... Look, people are very smart, so any defaults in their upbringing, they can self-correct because that is part of our society. But you can hear their English is not as firm as the English of the children who went to our traditional secondary schools. Because I remember when I went to Bali, just to make our English perfect, English was banned. I mean, Pidgin English was banned on campus. And so by the time you left Bali, you spoke English very well. We have students now who come out of university, and when they speak, you can tell that they don't have command of the language. And so they wanted, so these colonialists wanted to bring their inferior colonial language to come and make it become the language of instruction in our schools. And our parents and the whole population said no. That has not been addressed. So to what school are we going? Are we going back to the same thing that we rejected without answers? Obviously, our answer was treat us like dogs, because the only people you respond to by force is animals. With human beings, you're supposed to dialogue, you're supposed to reason, because we all, every single human has the ability to reason. We don't need another person to reason for us. And if the government of La République du Cameroon, which is planted there by the French, behind who they fight to colonize us, think that they can come and treat us as dogs, I think Abazonians have said no. And so until Abazonians get their freedom and they reorganize their schools so that they are schools that actually empower their people rather than hurt them, there will be no schools. And I do know that what Mr. Tibor is recommending here, he will not accept it for an American school. He will not accept it for the American society. He will not accept that some other country comes and impose their language on them and try to impose the educational system and impose their legal system and treat them like animals. So I think America should continue to do what is right and stop consulting with people who were actually part of the problem in Abazonia today. That's what I have to say about that. The other thing that the Undersecretary raised was this thing about let me read how he puts it. He says both separatists and government need to enter into dialogue without preconditions. Okay, so America or the Undersecretary, in consultation with their international partners, have been saying this for 3 years now. And if I want to take the amount of time he says our children have been out of school to be how long this struggle has been going on, it will be 4 years. They've been saying the same thing, and La République hasn't done a thing. I think this whole thing about dialogue without precondition is an excuse to allow the French and La République to eliminate Abazonians out of their land, to defeat them, so that the land could be made exploitable, and what is going on there continues because it is part of the interest of a partner, of that international partner. So it's like somebody has stolen property from the owner. America knows, and it's a friend, it's a partner to the person who has stolen. And the person whose property has been stolen is complaining and making the neighborhood disturbed. And America has the power to make the wrong right. But America is saying, I want to consult with my partner on how to solve that problem. America starts out by saying, whoever stole that property did the wrong thing. And when the partner says, Master, what are you saying? I think you should stop saying that. Then he comes back and says, well, I think that you whose property has been stolen should have a dialogue with the guy who has stolen it, so that you can reach a solution about it. I mean, can that ever be a solution? No, it can't. And I think Mr. Nagy understands that. So this dialogue between what they call separatists, this dialogue between the fox and the hen, it doesn't make sense. It's not a genuine offer. It's not a genuine offer, and I think that America should come back to being America. I want to add another thing. The reason why the French and La République will never, ever bow down or come down to what the Americans and the so-called international community is calling for, meaning dialogue, is because the annexation, the occupation of Amazonia by La République du Cameroon and France was illegal. And so when the lawyers say, show us the act of union, there was no act of union. And there is a reason why there was no act of union. A plebiscite is not authority for La République to enter into Amazonia and take it over. The plebiscite of 1961 was an expression by the people of Amazonia that since you've put us in this box of a two-state or of a two alternative, Nigeria or La République, we have looked at the terms of joining La République, and we would like to make an agreement and join La République. And and part of what was being offered with La République is a two-state federation as equal partners, and there were 8 items that were to be legislated federally. Otherwise, in that two-state federation, Abazonians will see no difference. They will have their government, they will continue to run their economy, they will do everything as they were doing, except in telecommunication, in defense, and other things that need a macro approach, and 8 of them were identified. There will be a federal legislation, there will be a federal organization that will manage that. Now, what happened in Fumban is La République du Cameroon went and updated their Gaullist constitution, the constitution that the Gaullist French, the fascist French, have designed for them. They updated that, sent a copy to Foncha. Foncha took the copy without his own abilities to interpret it or read it properly, kind of hid it from Southern Cameroonians. And so when they went to Fumban, Foncha brought that out, Ahidjo brought that out and distributed it. And for the first time, the delegation from Southern Cameroon saw what La République was presenting as its own proposal for a federal constitution. The people of Southern Cameroon took that home. The one thing that the French did not do, which they could have done, because their intention was not to enter a fair and legal union with the people of Southern Cameroon as stated in the plebiscite. Their intention from day one was to take over the territory by force and colonize it and do what they're doing now. If they were smart, they probably should have forced that constitution to be signed in Fumban that day. Take a look at it, and by the way, sign it. They didn't do that. If they did that, they could now say, hey, here's the Act of Union, here's Foncha's signature and Joa's signature and Indele's signature and all the people who were in Fumban. But they didn't do that. So what they did was they said, okay, we've given you this constitution, go take a look at it, we will come back again. We'll come back in another meeting, and then we will move this forward. That meeting never took place. Foncha states that he approached Ahidjo twice, saying that they should come back and get the paperwork going.
But later on, he refused to summon the conference for final discussion and completion. And I reminded him, in August for the conference. He didn't say a word. In September too, I reminded him, he didn't say anything and proceeded to use it. And of course, he circulated it. We were reading it. he preceded it and declared unification of the Federal Republic of Cameroon.
Why did you have to go along with it?
Well, I had no choice. Now, I had no backing. I was almost alone.
And when I asked him why were you calling, he said he needed that there were two things that needed to be addressed.
There were quite a number of things that were not completed.
Can you mention some of them?
For example, the subjects to be transferred to the federal government was not done. The organization representing the federal government was not formed. But as soon as that constitution was not completed, he worked steadily to his referendum, or he worked steadily by absorbing most members of the Cameroon NDP who remained there in name but were already members of his party.
How did he do that?
Well, he was the big man. He commands the fund, he commands promotion, he commands everything. He used that, to do it. Then he proceeded also to make to a referendum. He made a referendum
in
1972, by which, at that time, my term of office had finished, and he nominated his running mate in the presidential election, and which at that time the second one was merely everybody going to the vote, to cast the vote.
To sum this whole thing, Charles de Gaulle said the Southern Cameroons is a little gift from the Queen of England. And I think Abazonians right now are saying they are not a gift to be given to anybody by another. And that's where we are. And so La République will never, never get on a negotiating table for two reasons. One, they know that on a negotiating table, the facts will not be with them, especially if it's a negotiating table where the judge is fair in considering all the facts and has the ability to enforce the agreement. La République will never get on the table. La République will never get on the dialogue table. The second is that they believe that they can shoot their way through, they can murder Abazonians like they murdered the Bamilikes and the Bassas in their own genocide, and get away with, and also succeed as they succeeded there. Obviously, I don't know how long it took them to suppress the Bassas, but I can tell you that Abazonians are not the Bassas and they're not the Bamilikes. So I don't think there will be a dialogue. I don't think La République will succeed militarily. And I think they think that time is for them, but I'm saying that no, time is against them, because Abazonia, like Honorable Weber said, and like a lot of the citizens of Abazonians are saying, is this is a fight of our lives, and it's do or die.